Okay, so we got the Blind Bandit, and how cool is that? We got a new cast member on the team, so that's pretty awesome. And the episode is pretty straightforward. It's pretty much establishing this character, who is blind but can still get around very well because of the earthbending. And I like episodes like this where somebody has an obvious disadvantage, whether they be blind or deaf, or they're missing a limb, or they can't walk, or something like that, and they overcome it regardless. But what the more popular one seems to be blind, because I think of Daredevil, I think of Quest for Camelot, I think of, sort of the blind warrior seems to be a very popular one to do. Probably because anyone can identify with, oh, if you can't see, you would automatically assume, oh, well, that person is going to have a really, really tough time. Probably even tougher than if you can't hear or whatever, can't smell or whatever senses you want to throw in there, or or losing a limb and so on and so forth. So the blind seems to be a very popular one, but what I like that this one does, I'll compare it to something like Quest for Camelot. I'm sure there's other examples of this, like in terms of like a bad example for how it's not done well. Because in Quest for Camelot, I can't believe I'm making that comparison. It's the only one that's coming to my mind. I know I've seen it elsewhere. The blind person is so good at what they do, you sort of question whether or not they're blind. Why? I think only once or twice do you see him wave the stick around as if he can't see, but other than that, if no one ever told you he was blind, you wouldn't even connect that he was blind. If you hear that sparking sound, that's my vent, sorry. So, what I like about this is that it actually gives an explanation of how she can accommodate for this. That the earthbending, she's so good at earthbending that she can actually sense where people are, where things are, and the blindness actually helps advance her earthbending skill. So they feed into each other. I thought that was very smart. And a lot of these other, I think like Daredevil, does explain how he can see better and such, but I really like how they do give an explanation, because I have seen other examples, they're not coming to my head, but I have seen other examples where they make them blind, but it's almost pointless because they're so good at not being blind, and I've known blind people, and I mean, I've seen them do stuff that you just wouldn't normally think a blind person can do, but they're still blind. So I really like the fact that they do account for that. For example, at the end, I think Sokka throws the belt at her, and because it's not on the ground, she doesn't see it, it hits her on the head, that's okay, because obviously she accommodates for that in a bajillion other ways. She's like the best earthbender on the show. So that's good. I like to see where they go with the character, because as of now, it's not a bad character, but I mean, so far it's just one episode in, but I don't see her as good as, say, Katara or Sokka or Zuko or Azula. So I'd like to see what they do with her, because right now they obviously got her backstory, and that she's a little resistant to wanting to leave. She doesn't know much else, but at the same time, she does want to see the world. She wants to earthbend, and she does finally break her father's wishes. But I'm curious to see what other character they're going to develop with this, because I'm saying to myself, there's got to be more than this if they're going to make her like a permanent cast member. So I get the feeling they will. They'll develop a pretty good character with her. I love the wrestling aspect of this. It's obvious they're satirizing wrestlers. Again, great thing about this world, though, even if you don't know wrestlers, you can just see it as a form of entertainment, like gladiators and such. And so I really like that. It works both ways. Sokka started turning into a traditional wrestling fan, booing who's supposed to be booed and cheering who's supposed to be cheered, and again, good comedy from him. I love when they get the ransom note from the boulder and he's so happy because he has the boulder's autograph. I mean, that's very funny. The boulder I love. I love this guy always refers to himself, the boulder is not pleased. He's sort of like Duffman. He reminds me a lot of that. What else? Like a pretty straightforward episode, just establishing a new character to come on board. I say the one thing maybe I didn't like, which I guess it sort of depends where it goes. I'm usually not a fan of when a good person has a misunderstanding, so they're gonna do something bad because of it. Something about that just always seems boring. Maybe because I know it's gonna end up with that person realizing, oh wait, I should have listened, or oh wait, I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. But it's also sort of the girl's fault too, you know, because she said, oh yeah, Dad said it's fine. Doesn't she think any consequences are gonna come of this? So there's this other chase going on between these two people who are gonna try and hunt them down, and from the sound of it, it sounds like I wouldn't like it, but then again, the show does surprise me. It does throw me for loops I'm not expecting, and certain plot twists I think I'm not gonna like, or I think are gonna be predictable. Again, they throw me for a surprise, so hopefully that'll be the case here, because just from the setup, I'm sort of going, I hope that's good. I hope they do something good with that. So it sort of sounds like The Wizard. I remember when the, what was it, the father and the brother had to go find him, but then that other guy who's supposed to catch the kids is going after him and stuff. It's like, I just don't care for those kind of plots, you know, just the bad guys chasing after him over sort of a dumb misunderstanding. So maybe they'll do something good with it. Maybe they'll do something either legitimately funny or legitimately heavy. So, I don't know. Just from the setup, it's not sounding like much. But I could be wrong. Like I said, show surprises me a lot. So, yeah, not too much else on this one. I guess, I think the only joke that really stood out to me I thought was really funny was I like Katara talking to the boys, trying to get information. She says, oh, you know, girl has her ways and stuff, and they're frozen head to head along the walls there. I think that's a funny visual. It's like such a strange way to get information. It's a very creative way, so I like that. And actually, when I saw it, I did legitimately think they're gonna go for the, oh, she like sweet talked him or something. I like that she kicked their ass. I thought that was funny. Oh God, and when when she says, like, you know, I got my eye on you, and Sokka just goes, what was it, just like, wanna try? That killed me. A joke like that should not make me laugh, because that's such a, like, you know, East Side, or something like that, but it was so funny. So, it's sucking me in more and more with its humor. Like I said, the humor started off and just got so good. So I'm really loving it. Yeah, that's about it. Just a very basic introduction of a new character. Hopefully it's a good character. It looks like it'll be a good character. And yeah, just see you in the next one.